Hello and welcome back, and if you've made it to this point, congratulations, because we're pretty much finished here. Well, we finished with the main framework. Now we're going to be building out some modules, and these modules are going to basically do some really cool things for us. So the first module we're going to build out is to handle cookies and sessions. So what we can do is we can go to modules, create a new file, and this is going to be called cookie.module.php. Okay, now I'm going to create a class, and this class is going to be called cookie. Oh, I forgot to open up my PHP, so let's get that open. Okay, so we're going to create some functions, and all of these functions, and at least these file or the two cookie and session will be static functions, just so we can call it like cookie set, something like that. So, so what we can do is we can. Well, I'm trying to figure out if I want to set a function to basically just get some setters in that. You know what? We'll just do public static set, and then we'll take in a name, a value, and an expiry. So I'll call this time. And by default, I'll set that equal to 1. And so I'm just going to return the set cookie, and I don't have to return it, so I'm not going to. Cookie, $name, $value, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the time function. And so this will be time plus, and then what we'll do is we'll do $time, and then we'll do star, and then 3006. Okay, so that's going to set, sorry, that's not 3006, that's 3600. Okay, so this will set, whenever you set each whole number on this time, it's going to increase by 1 day. So if you do 7, that will be 7 days before the cookie expires. I'm getting an error here. Where's the error? Public static function set. Okay. And next up, I'm going to create a get function to grab the cookie. And we'll actually need an exists function to check and see if the cookie exists, but we'll create that in just a moment. So public static function get, and we'll just pass in the name. And then we'll check to see if the cookie exists. So if, and then self exists, $name. Then all we'll do is we'll return $_cookie, and then $name. Now we also need to create that exists function, so public static function exists $name. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to return an isSet. So you see this isSet, and then if the cookie exists, this will return true or false. And then we're going to create a delete function, so public static function delete, and then we'll say $name, and then what we'll do is we'll say if, and then self exists for name. We're just going to set the cookie to -1. Okay, so this grabs the name, the value becomes nothing, and then this time becomes -1, and it unsets the cookie. Now we're going to do something very similar for our sessions class, because it's basically the same thing. There's very, very little difference. Okay, so I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this session.module.php. And so I'm just going to open up my PHP tag, and then we'll create a class called session, and then we'll do public static set $name, $value, and then we'll say $_ session, $name, name, name is equal to $value. So this will actually create a session for us. And then what we'll do is public static function get $name, and then we'll use an exist function. So what we'll do is if and then self exists name, and you could just use ternary operators for this, but you know, I'm just not going to do that, else we'll return false, or I could return null, but you know, it doesn't really matter how you want to return it. Public static function. Okay. And then we'll create a public static function exists name, and we'll just return if it sets. And then we also need a stat function for delete. So we're going to check to see if it exists and then unset the function. And then we're also going to get the user agent. So what I'm going to call this is I'm just going to call this a public static function uAgent. And this will give us the user agent and set it equal to, well, we're not actually we're not going to. Originally, I was going to create a session, but essentially we just want to grab this user agent to. We'll be using that for security purposes in our login system when we eventually create that. But this is how you create modules. And so in the next video, we'll create a few more. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an auth module that will basically just have a bunch of helper classes for our auth. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.